Welcome back. Michigan's industry captains of industries are stepping up to the plate and taking charge. We have Cindy Paskey from Strategic Staffing Solutions, who is a member of Business Leaders for Michigan, and its president, Doug Rothwell. But I want to ask you, two of you, this question. Time magazine recently had Detroit on the cover. The decline of an great American city and how it can evolve. Actually, I was in Washington attending the Congressional Black Caucus when I got a call to my hotel about this front page of Time and that, what they wrote and so forth. But again, the question is the image that's been portrayed about Detroit. Does it help investors come here? What is your assessment of that coverage itself?
Of course it doesn't help investors come here. I think that Time Magazine needs to sell copies of the magazine. We all know what that industry is facing, and I think they feel that this story is going to help them do that. The real test to whether or not they have reporters and journalists here is as we share with them where we have been making improvements, where we have been driving change, where we do have success stories, if those end up on the cover and the picture of the Riverwalk ends up on the cover, not the picture of the street behind the Renaissance building.
Yeah, one of the things that Cindy's heading up actually for us is an initiative called the Detroit News Hub, and it's really designed to try to reach out to those out-of-town reporters and give them the kind of picture that Cindy just painted in terms of what all is going on in Detroit, not just the bad stuff. And hopefully we'll see that kind of in the Time Magazine series as time goes on here. Actually, a couple of the pieces they wrote by CNN Money Magazine and Sports Illustrated that were contributors to the story were pretty good.
Right.
The Time piece was a little rough, but hopefully that kind of initiative can help going forward.
What do you think the city needs to do? And I've always said this, as journalists, we are not in the business of serving as a propaganda wing for the city, but again, the city needs to be able to sell itself. I was in Atlanta for a conference last year, and I was in a hotel, and Atlanta has a channel that 24/7 is promoting Atlanta. It's showing the businesses that are in Atlanta, how people are moving in and what's been done. But in the city, we don't have that. What do you think needs to happen as far as the city is concerned?
Well,
And Business Leaders is headquartered in Detroit, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Maybe perhaps an unpopular statement, but perhaps we could substitute filming the city council meetings and actually talk about the businesses that are successful in Detroit. And that might better serve the audience and better tell the story of what's happening here. We could do something as simple as that. We do have, I think that with Chris Illich's leadership, the Visitors and Convention Bureau has grown successfully. They do a better job of getting the word out. But we also need local support. We don't want our local media to spin Detroit, but we do want our local media to tell the stories that are good in addition to the ones that present challenges.
Provide a balanced perspective.
Provide a balanced perspective, absolutely.
And the other thing we need to do is not give the material for bad stories. I mean, unfortunately, in the last couple of years, we've done a pretty good job of that. I mean, we've been fighting with each other over whether it was Cobo Hall or transit or, the escapades with, the last administration in the city and divisions between the suburbs and the city. I mean, all that stuff just feeds these people that want to write these stories to begin with. So,
do you think those things are necessary in enriching for some strong decisions?
Yeah, certainly some of it is, but sometimes it seems like it goes a little too far, and I think we've got to do a better job as speaking with one voice in this community for what it is we believe in and that we need to get along better so that people on the outside aren't exposing kind of those bad stories that frankly feed those negative perceptions of our community.
There's the view that Detroit is under siege, and we'll have another discussion with, of course, a roundtable with reporters in the city, that Detroit is under siege by the media. Do you guys believe that?
Well, I think that to a certain extent we are. There are a lot of good stories that do come out. There's a lot of stories that the Hub posts that are factual stories, they're not spin. And when those aren't picked up and those aren't shared and those aren't occasionally the lead, then that leads you to think that perhaps, yes, we have some challenges.
What do you do? Because, I mean, the reason why I'm concentrating on this issue is because when investors, I know this for a fact, when investors want to move into cities to invest, they look for media reviews of those cities.
Right.
And what's written in those papers is what will motivate them, whether they want to come or not.
Right.
What do you do in your case? I mean, what do you plan to do as you move forward as far as Business Leaders for Michigan is concerned? You are headquartered in this city, so, I mean, you're not an island, you don't operate by yourself. So whatever affects Detroit affects you.
Well, I think it's what you need to do is you need to not only say and be honest about what the problems are that we face, but you also need to provide people a sense of hope of where you're going in the future. And that's what our whole plan is about for Michigan, is a turnaround plan. It's not just about pointing out what all the problems are. We know that. How are we going to solve those problems? And so I would think the same thing holds true for how we want to communicate to the outside world about this community. Yeah, we've got issues. We've got problems. In many cases, time being here is a good thing because we are kind of a laboratory right now for what the new economy will turn into. But at the same time, let's use it to expose some of the things that we are doing to move the community forward.
Let's switch the pendulum quickly to the gubernatorial elections. We have Mike Cox, the Attorney General, Mike Bouchard, Oakland County. We have a list of individuals who are going to be running for governor for the state of Michigan. Of course, the Lieutenant Governor John Cherry is going to come out as the candidate for the Democratic Party. What are you guys hearing? What do you make of the current field that we have? Does it offer hope for the future?
I think that having a field is a start. Our measure is going to be the plan that we rolled out. We're going to look on both sides, both parties, and we're going to look for candidates that actually take that plan serious, recognize it involves difficult decisions, can articulate back to us why it would work and how they would do it. And whether it's Democrat, Republican, Republican, Democrat, our group is going to say the starting point is, do you take the principles that we laid out seriously, and are you willing to take the steps to implement them? And then we can come back and tell you if we think we have a good field or not.
Yeah, I agree. That's really what it is, and I think at least we have a plan that we can evaluate the candidates on.
Right.
There's a lot of other issues that they'll want to care about besides just economic ones, but we think this plan's pretty good in terms of moving the economy forward.
What has been the governor's reaction, Governor Jennifer Granholm's reaction to this plan?
Yeah, I think she's open to a lot of ideas, and I think that this provides her one more set of them.
Has she accepted this plan?
No, I don't think that. Probably it would be hard to expect any politician to just carte blanche say, I accept all of it, and we're not even expecting that. But what we are expecting is that they would say, there's a lot here that I do like, and I'm committed to moving those pieces forward. If we could even get half this plan implemented, we would be in much better shape than we are today. But how much progress we're going to see, frankly, between now and the gubernatorial election, I think is very uncertain. As we tape this today, the budget is very unclear up in Lansing.
Right.
So we may be in a one-year period here before we see big progress.
Is there reason to hope for the future, finally?
Absolutely. If there wasn't, we wouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah, you bet.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Doug Rothwell from Business Leaders for Michigan, and also Cindy Paskey from the same group and Strategic Staffing Solutions for coming on the program. Michigan CEOs in the driving seat, stepping up to the plate. We'll see you next week with more editions of Center Stage, WADL TV 38, Detroit's urban TV station.